Boy, do I fondly remember walking into Walmart the day after Christmas 2006 and buying the very first LEGO Star Wars Battle Packs. Released for 2007, we had the Droid Battle Pack and the Clone Battle Pack here, and who would have thought this little marketing jargon down here, build your army, would have had such a butterfly effect that would ultimately lead us to today's comparison video. Where I'll be comparing those original 2007 Droid and Clone Battle Packs to the 2024 Clone Trooper and Battle Droid Battle Pack. Now in this comparison video, we're going to be combining the 2007 battle packs together to make them into one set, much like the 2024 set is two battle packs in one set. So combined, the 2007 battle packs would have cost $20. However, adjusted for inflation, that's about $30 in today's money, meaning they're basically the same price that the 2024 set is. The part count, though, is where we'll see a discrepancy, as we only have 160 pieces combined for the 2007 battle packs versus the 215 pieces in the 2024 battle pack. Moving right into our first scoring category, we'll be looking at the quality of the minifigs, and those 2007 ones certainly lacked the leg printing and the Clone Trooper face that we see on the newer characters. I think those are the two biggest drawbacks of the older Clone Troopers compared to what we see on the new ones, and the biggest drawback of the new one is quite obvious if you watch the channel at any point over the last year and a half. For 2007, though, this was the peak of what LEGO Star Wars had done for Clone Troopers, and they were very good for their era. The more modern Clone Troopers definitely have a 50-50 split in the fandom of whether or not they're actually good for their era. I do think Clone Trooper quality peaked a couple years ago. The newer ones I think are probably still a little bit better than the older ones just because of the leg printing and the Clone Trooper head, but the helmet could definitely be make or break for you. The huge disparity we saw in design philosophy for Clone Troopers is not mirrored with the battle droids. There's only a small difference, being that one of the curved arms is replaced for a straight arm on most modern battle droids so that they can accommodate the more modern weaponry that they need. What's interesting from a quality when released perspective is that in January 2007, when both these sets were released, they had just made the change to the newer blasters. So the old megaphone blasters that the battle droids had here were immediately dated in this set, and battle droids would end up getting the straight arms in the summer of 2007. The super battle droids are also an upgrade in quality. While not apparent at first, the updated mold definitely looks a little bit sharper, plus it has that little indentation to represent the little red sensor that is on the super battle droid body. Now the bigger change is something you can't really see, it's what you can feel with these characters and how they'll fare over time. The older super battle droids, it's well known that they would crack and break under just normal use, and I just opened a sealed 2007 droid battle pack for this video, and the arms on the old super battle droids are already really tight, meaning that it could probably snap really easily in just normal use if I keep playing around with it. So it is a little bit sketchy versus the newer figures that feel just a little bit looser, a little bit smoother when you use them for movement, and so hopefully they will not be snapping over the years like we had the problem with the older ones. So when it comes to the quality of the figures between these two sets, literally everything except the helmets on the new Clone Troopers to me is a clear upgrade. They've done a lot of good stuff with the battle droids, a lot of good stuff with the printing and design on Clone Troopers. Now when it comes to army building, I think 2007 is better for two distinct reasons. First off, the Clone Trooper selection. With the newer set, you get 3 regulars and 1 shock trooper. With the older set, you got 2 regulars, 1 shock trooper, and 1 327th, meaning you could just build more factions of your Clone Trooper army at the same time. Now, the other way in which I see them beating out the 2024 set is the idea that you could actually just pick one or the other. You didn't have to get the exact same amount of Clone Trooper battle packs as you did battle droid battle packs. You could go and build a giant clone army and not have to spend double the price. My point to that isn't to say that the newer battle pack concept is bad. I really love the concept, and the execution of it is generally really good here. However, that just gives the consumer the choice of where they want to spend their money, whether it's their battle droids, whether it's their Clone Troopers. I think that's just better for the consumer, and it's better to allow people to build their army the way that they want to. Moving into the build quality for these battle packs, and specifically the clone barricade / turret, there are some nice play features on the 2024 set. We have the stud shooter, we have the removable shields. That's nice and all, but I much prefer the look on 2007, plus having the ability to actually attach a minifigure to the plate to man the turret. I just think makes all the sense in the world, and I still don't know why they didn't do it with the newer one. So I think 2007's better there, and same for the speeder bike. I think it's a nicer look. You can still place 2 minifigs on just like you can in 2024. The only only additional feature in 2024 is the stud shooters. Otherwise, it's just an overall worse look. Now, the STAP, I think, is a clear upgrade over 2007. Don't get me wrong, 2007 is very good, and it ages really well here. Like, you could still probably get away with releasing the exact same design, but 2024 just changes up some little things, makes the stand a little bit shorter. I didn't know I wanted a shorter stand until they made this shorter stand, and it looks really nice. And then when it comes to the Tri-Droid versus the Droid Carrier, I could totally see calling this one a wash as far as quality goes. The Droid Carrier is really good at being a Droid Carrier, and the Tri-Droid is a really good Tri-Droid, and of course both for their era. The Tri-Droid has some actual play functionality with the shooting missiles. Droid Carrier doesn't really have anything as functional as that, although you can turn the little pilot area and move its weapons up and down. Like, there's a little something there, plus you can literally load it up with battle droids, which is pretty cool if you want to drive them into battle. For build quality though, I'm going to call it a draw, as I think the 2007 clone builds are better, but the droid builds are definitely amazing in the newer 2024 set. When you army build using battle packs, you're going to end up with a bunch of extra builds, and there's a few different ways fans typically approach this. First off, you can just line them up with your army as they came in the set. Some people will modify the builds and create different bigger builds, and other people will either part them out or sell the parts to recoup cost. Clearly, there are very different use cases, and it will really depend on how you want to use your stuff. For 2007, being able to have your droids on the Droid Carrier for your droid army is phenomenal. Like, that is a great thing for your army building. It gives you a place to put your battle droids within your army, or a place to put the battle droids in a mock as they're going into battle against the clone troopers, or whatever your use case may be there. I also look at the Tri-Droid, and while I do only have one of them right now, I think that it will stack up really nicely if I end up with like 10 Tri-Droids and 10 of the STAPs. I think builds from both sets have really good applications for army building, but at the end of the day, if I was army building the 2024 set, like many of you may be looking into doing, I think selling off those clone trooper builds or repurposing the parts, I would probably still just end up selling the parts to recoup some of the cost though, and put it towards buying whatever else I want to buy. So moving into our final category with value, and again, this isn't necessarily a do you buy the 2007 battle packs or do you buy the 2024 battle packs today, because obviously you can't buy the 2007 battle packs for $30 right now. If you want those sealed in box, you're looking at like $100 each or something. It's very pricey. But the reason I talk about this is so that we can see if LEGO is actually getting better or worse as far as the value it's providing customers, or at the very least staying the same. So when it comes to price per piece, which a lot of people use as their end all be all for value, the new set has the 2007 sets beat. It was 160 pieces to 215 pieces in 2024. And with the inflation price calculated in, you're looking at the same price. You're just getting more pieces for the same amount of money in 2024. You are getting less figures though. And so when it comes to a battle pack, figures per dollar is also maybe a very important stat you might want to take a look at. And I think that is more important than price per piece in this case. Another stat you might find interesting is the price per ounce. In 2007, we got 4.37 ounces of plastic for $30 versus in 2024, we're getting 3.67 ounces of plastic. So by weight, we're getting about 20% less plastic in the new 2024 set, despite the price being about the same adjusted for inflation. So that stat there should tell you that price per piece is not going to be the end all be all. But at the end of the day, I usually use the eye test as far as what I determine is a good or bad value. And a lot of it can be relative to other sets available from LEGO at the same time or in the past. Ultimately, I think in both cases, you have sets that are very fair value for their money when they were released. So price per piece, price by weight aside, I just think looking at it, they both feel like they were fair for their money when they were released. When it comes to my opinion, I think both of these sets really have a place in LEGO Star Wars, and both of them deliver something excellent for a lot of people, and a lot of people are able to enjoy them. But in my opinion, if I can only have one set over the other, I would stick to 2007. I think aesthetically, the Clone Troopers are just nicer. Like what we have with the giant hole in the front of the helmet is a design element that is made to make the Clone Troopers look good and have a unique, good style. And what we have in 2024 is not that. So it's just how I feel. Like I love the small incremental upgrades to the battle droids in the sets, like over the years. I think that's a really good thing and a really good reason to obviously buy the new one over the old one. And really no one's making a purchasing decision based on this video at the end of the day. It's just taking a look at what LEGO has done over the years. And in a lot of ways, there's been a lot of improvements. I also, in my opinion, as much as I love the concept of a super battle pack, and I think they should do more sets like this, and it's not make or break, it is nice to have the option to pick which factions you want, whether you'll buy the same amount or not. Maybe it's not for everyone. Maybe some people just want clone troopers. Maybe some people just want battle droids, and maybe they want a different amount of them. So I do think that is a slight downside to the Super Battle Pack concept, if you were going to say anything's bad about the concept as a whole. Otherwise, just in my opinion, I'd rather have 2007, but overall still two great sets, obviously. And let's check out our winner. Well, the final score is a draw, and that's probably appropriate given the pros and cons to each set and each style of battle pack and doing them split versus combined in the Super Battle Pack of 2024. I think obviously in 2007, everyone enjoyed what we had, and in 2024, a lot of people are also going to enjoy what we had. And at the end of the day, whether one's better than the other, it shouldn't ruin your enjoyment of either. So I hope you enjoyed my thorough comparison of the 2007 Clone and Droid Battle Packs versus the 2024 Clone and Droid Battle Pack. Thank you guys so much for watching, and check out more comparison videos on the end screen now.